Hi, this is Rob Sullivan. I want you to pay particular attention to the words you use. Now, what I'm talking about here is the power that our words have in terms of shaping who we are and what we experience. And so let's start with the word experience. A couple of years ago, when I went through chemo for lymphoma, it was brought to my attention not to use words that made it sound like the tumors were mine. And people talk about, I have cancer, I have this, I have that. Don't use the word have. A better choice is to say, I'm experiencing tumors. Because then it separates whatever you're dealing with from you as a person. When you use the word have, it's a possession, something you're holding on to. Well, in my case, and especially a tumor is not something I had any interest in holding on to. It was an unwelcome guest, and I wanted it, gone as quickly as possible. So think about that. I'm experiencing a cold, or I'm experiencing this, not I have. Another one I want you to be careful of, and this is interesting when people do this, they'll say, I'm so not looking forward to this. It's going to be so hard or whatever. And they tell themselves in advance what to expect, and their expectation is negative. And so I get where that comes from. What I want you to do instead is to acknowledge that it may be difficult, or whatever it is that you're facing may not be the most fun thing you've ever done, but instead shift that and say, my commitment is that this go better and easier than I could ever have imagined. And it's interesting, you don't really have to do anything more than that. You turn it over to the universe and put the intention out first that you want a better outcome than otherwise you might have expected. Those are some key things to think about as you're going into the year, because when you say things, words have power. I remember a few years back, as another example, a friend of mine was sharing with me how heartsick she was about having to fire an employee. Now, at the time we're having this conversation, I vividly remember I'm on the phone with her. She's got laryngitis. And she said, I'm just sick about it. She said, I don't know what I'm going to say to him. And I said, did you hear what you just said? She literally her body created laryngitis, the inability to speak, as a response to the fact that she was hesitant about having a conversation. Our words have incredible power. Pay attention to that. Watch that. Think about what I've shared and think about how it shows up in your life, because those are just a couple of examples and there's millions more. Watch it. It will make a huge difference, I promise.